Today's episode of TWIMMO is brought to you by World of Tanks. To go check it out absolutely free, just head on over to gboffer.com/tanks. If you guys have not checked out the 9.0 update, go check it out. World of Tanks. gboffer.com/tanks.
Game Breaker TV.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to This Week in MMO, episode 189 for May 24th, 2014. I'm Gary Gannon. You're watching Game Breaker TV. Coming up on today's show, amazing. We're going to talk about Elder Scrolls Online. No way! They never talk about that game. We're going to talk about some Destiny and Arena of Faith. Joining me today, Mr. Troy Blackburn from Game Breaker TV. How are you, sir?
Coming at you this week with 100% more working internet.
He is. He's all back up and running. We missed you last week, because last week was a really bad day for you, apparently.
Yeah, it was terrible. It was not even usable since probably about midnight Friday night. But hey, one tweet to social media, 24 hours later, boom, working
Fixed.
internet.
So there you go. Lesson of today. You have problems, hit the internets. There you go. Hit the Twitters. All right, let's talk about first story of the week, The Elder Scrolls Online, a game we never talk about here on TWIMMO.
Nope.
Ever.
Not once.
Never even mentioned. I don't even know what this is. Nope. Elder Scrolls Online's first major content patch arrived this week. So the big feature, of course, is the Craglorn Adventure Zone and the 12-player raid that comes with it. What have you got to check it out yet? I'm not high enough level yet, personally.
No, I'm not. But between my internet problems and the bit of a grind there is, and the veteran ranks, I'm only veteran rank 2. So really, you've got to be probably at least 8 or 9 to get in, because it's all supposed to be geared towards veteran rank 10. So I've been watching a few streams, trying not to spoil it for myself, but definitely not ready to get in there myself just yet.
But what are you seeing so far? What are you hearing? Good things, bad things? What are we hearing?
So far, as far as the Craglorn content itself and the trials and things, I've heard relatively good things. I've heard a lot of people having fun with it. I know the guys over at Tamriel Foundry have been saying good things about it and having a blast with it. Watching some of the fights on some of the streams, some of them look a little simplistic, but I mean, without really getting in there myself and checking it out, I can't say that for sure, because I mean, this is a big group of organized guys who's been doing it since the public test servers were up with it. So I mean, they could just be walking in and knowing what they're doing and taking care of business.
Gotta say that, I mean, the one thing nobody can complain about ESO is, like, there's a lot of content for all different levels and stuff like that. With this comes a bunch of bug fixes, improvements, things like that, balance changes in this patch, as well as something I think a lot of players have been waiting for is the dungeon chest changes that they've put in. Yeah. So the entire group actually now gets something, which I think was much needed. Wonder why they didn't go for this from launch.
I don't know. I think some of that probably comes down to inexperience in the MMO genre, would be my first guess. And I mean, it's been a bigger problem than just not everybody's getting loot and XP out of it. I know a lot of folks have been having problems with pugs who just, once a fight starts and a pool's made, one of the pugs will just run off and start looting all the chests and not help with the fights. And then you can't boot them out of the group because it doesn't automatically remove them from the instance. So it's been a lot of problems all the way around with the system the way it was.
That's been a major problem. That was one of the biggest problems. Just Ninja, everything. So yeah. That's in the patch. That was much needed. How about something we talked about? I think the last time we talked about ESO, a lot of people having just stability issues before this patch. Just crashes, some ability lag. I think that was a really big one for JKK. How is that?
Yeah, the responsiveness of abilities still needs a lot of work. That's actually, once they get kind of this new patch ironed out, that's kind of at the top of my priority list now, is addressing the ability lag. But this patch introduced a whole new set of problems for a few people, including a memory leak if you set in the character creator too long, or in the character select screen too long. And also, there's been some problems with the new dedicated full screen mode that they've introduced, with people getting bugs with that and weird loading screen issues and that thing just kind of jumping in and out. So I think they've addressed a few stability things, and then this patch brought in a couple of more new things too. And then there's still, of course, a list of issues that still need to be addressed in the future.
What's going on with the ability lag? Are you seeing it? Is it really affecting your gameplay to the point that you're really? Because I know JKK last week just almost said he didn't even. It was making him not want to actually even log in and play. It was so bad for him.
Right now, for me, it's just more aggravating than anything. It's when you're just sitting there smashing buttons and no abilities will go off, and then all of a sudden they all go off. They all try to go off at the same time, and it's too late. Weapon swapping in particular has been a real problem, where you'll hit the button and it won't swap, then you'll hit it again, and then all of a sudden your guy switches to the weapon you wanted to, and then back to the weapon you were trying to get out of, and you're just like. And then you die. Depending
you're
on
dead.
What
you're
doing.
dead.
Yeah. If you were trying to go for a heal ability or something, and you just switch back to the same weapon, yep, that's the end. GG. Go to a waste round.
You think players are like actually getting to the point where they're just getting so frustrated though they might actually walk away from some of this stuff? Because I can imagine if you're just dying constantly, or not constantly dying, but you're dying at a pretty decent clip from just an issue that you're not really in control of. That's pretty frustrating.
It is aggravating. I'm sure there are probably already people who have walked away probably for that specific reason. I think we're still in the process of getting everything ironed out, and a lot of people who are big-time MMO players understand that it takes time to get things like this, taken care of and ironed out. And it's going to be taken care of. It's just a matter of, are they going to wait too long to address it? Because as of right now, everything, a lot of the quests and stuff have been fixed. So this is slowly making its way towards the top of the list as far as what some of the people's problems with the game are.
What do you think about? I mean, some people are kind of saying like, oh, it almost feels as if we're still to some extent beta testing, ESO and trying to iron these things out, for the console release, for them to get a lot of this stuff worked out for that. I know Paul Sage spoke to IGN about the console version. They said it still looks like 2014, but he wouldn't guarantee that it would be out in 2014, which means it could slip again. And we even questioned about whether, if we could potentially see a cancellation of the console version. I don't know. Yeah. I mean, what do you think? What do you make of all this? Do you think?
I don't really see a cancellation of the console version right now, but before they started making all these delays, I would have said no. There's just different issues with the console. It takes different programmers to do things slightly different. But now with the delays and stuff and all the problems that they've been having with the PC version, you just can't help but get the feeling that you are sort of beta testing for the console edition of the game, and hopefully when that does come out, because I think they're going to have an issue kind of marketing that to console gamers to begin with, just kind of because it is a traditional MMO. So if it comes to them super buggy, I think they're starting to get the hint that console gamers really aren't going to tolerate what a lot of PC gamers will for a little while.
That's an interesting take on it. So you think they've got to get all those things ironed out because PC or console gamers just will not put up. Are we really that like? Have we been that trained by the MMO genre that we're just willing to just be like, oh, this is normal? Server issues, ability lag, the things that are just to some extent game breaking. Yeah, you couldn't really release a console game single player style with this many bugs in it. So if that's what they're used to, they'd be like, why am I paying $15 a month for this?
I mean, it's sad that that's the way it is for PC gamers, but the reality is that's the way it is. Every game, most MMOs launch with problems, lags, bugs, and we wait around for a few months to get them ironed out. It's just the way of the world, like it or
not. So also some future content updates. Overall, anything else major in this patch? I mean, it's a pretty big patch.
It's a really huge patch. It'd be hard to go over everything, but one thing I'm super happy about is the decrease in the cost to repair your armor, because that was getting expensive.
Really? So decrease on that. Big, nice little quality of life there. What are the really big stuff? I mean, obviously Craiglorn's the big one, but
yeah, Craiglorn's the biggest thing. There were some balance changes to classes and such. I know I main a DK, and the Dragon Knight standard got a pretty significant nerf to it because it was admittedly OP as all get out. You could drop that ultimate and pretty much own anything you wanted to own. So that got a nerf. And other than that, let's see. There were the changes to I believe in dungeons now. Also, there's going to be less damage done to your gear whenever you die. So you're gonna have to repair less, and it's going to cost less on top of that to do that. It had gotten to the point where it was easier for me to just let my armor go down to like 10-15% durability, and then just craft a new set of armor and just going about my business. It was simpler, easier, faster, and a heck of a lot cheaper.
Some as for some future content updates, we can expect the justice system before the Thieves Guild or the Dark Brotherhood, which I guess makes sense. That system kind of needs to be nailed down first.
Yeah, when
you weren't here last week.
Guild,
We brought this up last week, and I think we talked about it without you. What are you thinking about a justice system? How do you feel about it?
I get the impression, just kind of on the way everything else has worked out, that it's not going to be exactly what our dreams or what the justice system would be. I get the feeling that it's going to be more about, when you take things from an NPC house, there may be repercussions for that. I don't know if we're going to see an Arc-Age type justice system where if you go out and kill somebody, you've got the bloody footprints and somebody can track you down. I really right now just don't see that sort of thing happening. I see it more of the, right now my guess would be, just some sort of negative effect if you go out and steal from NPCs. But hopefully, it turns into more than that. It should be, especially with the Thieves Guild and the Dark Brotherhood coming up, that could add a lot of really interesting elements to that type of gameplay that you would assume is going to come with that type of content coming in.
And then the last thing, player housing, sounds like that's like really just way, way, way down the road.
Yeah, if it's not in there now, there's not a ton of need for it. I don't feel like there's a ton of call for it in the community. That's something they can add in later once they've been going for a while and everybody's torn through all the content they've got. They can throw in some player housing and keep some other folks busy for a while. It's not really necessary right now.
You'll have to wait for that. That's just, who knows if that'll even come. They've got some other big issues they got to fix. All right, I want to talk about Destiny real quick. I want to tell you guys about the sponsor for today's show. To make This Week in MMO possible, support Gamebreaker by supporting our sponsor on today's show, which is World of Tanks. Completely free-to-play game, completely not pay-to-win. Just head on over to gboffer.com/tanks. Download it absolutely free. Check it out today. It's a 9.0 update that went live not too long ago, and it's really, really awesome. The historical battles and brings a bunch of other stuff to the game. There's new physics stuff coming. They're getting ready for their Havoc engine stuff coming really soon. So if you guys have not checked out World of Tanks ever or in a while, now is the time to check it out. So the new 9.0 update is kicking ass. Just go to gboffer.com/tanks. You play any tanks, Troy?
I have in the past. I haven't right now. I haven't been playing much of anything because of my internet, but I have played World of Tanks before. I've done some first look videos and stuff. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, you definitely want to make sure that your internet's working for some World of Tanks, because that'll kind of just destroy the entire situation. But check it out today. Like I said, gboffer.com/tanks is the URL you want to use. And so happy to have World of Tanks on board as a sponsor of This Week in MMO and all the other shows here on Gamebreaker. Let's talk about Destiny. I'm psyched about Destiny. Are you psyched about Destiny?
If it was going to be on PC, I probably would be. I'm not even a shooter guy, but I would probably drop money on it if it was on PC.
He's a PC Master Race kind of guy, isn't he? Yeah.
Hashtag.
Exactly. So launching it is in September. Bungie's MMO. We don't know exactly how they're kind of building this world out, but beta is supposed to be available as soon as July, so that's coming around the corner. I can't believe we're almost halfway through the year. So Destiny is available right now for pre-order on the PlayStation Store, and that actually gets you access to the beta. So I would advise, if you're looking forward to it and want to get in that beta, make sure you do that pre-order. I'm not sure when Xbox users are getting access. I'm not exactly sure, but I think PlayStation users are getting in first, if I'm not mistaken. Do you know if that's correct?
I believe so. I believe it's PlayStation first.
I know everybody. I know. I'm with you there. I kind of wish Destiny was coming out on PC. I do have a PS4. I don't have an Xbox One, so I'll be definitely looking forward to this. I don't know. I've been looking forward to Destiny for quite a while. I mean, I'm really interested to see how they are going to tackle the MMO market sort of on a console. And I don't necessarily think it's going to be what we're used to, like World of Warcraft style, big open kind of thing. But I think it's going to be interesting. I don't know. What do you think? Because they've been really tight-lipped about like how it's going to work as far as the massiveness of it. How do you see it working?
I believe it's definitely, like you said, it's going to have to be different than World of Warcraft or ESO. We just got done talking about how, console gamers may not accept some things, MMOs do. That they've been pretty, like you said, they've been really tight-lipped about what is exactly going to be. They've been teasing MMO type aspects of it, but still reluctant to call it like an MMO. So they're still wanting to appeal, really, I guess, to that Halo crowd, and still try to bring in like some MMO folks and be like, hey, there's some MMO stuff too. Why don't you come over and check that out? And it was just enough to get me interested in it. And I'm not a shooter guy at all, so I'm sure that they're definitely doing a good job of teasing us and making us want to see exactly what's in there. And
yeah, I mean, a story-driven. I mean, they're obviously doing a story-driven game here with like an arc, but it's an open-world kind of shooter. I don't know. Do you see it being kind of like a Borderlands-esque scenario, but even a little bit more massive, where you're not just doing a 4-player co-op, but you're seeing hundreds or how many other people in the world, but then you kind of move in through these like seamless instant spaces that you then tackle with like 3 or 4 of your buddies?
If it's going to work quite like that, I'm not sure. What I'm picturing is just a big, massive open world and something sort of like Defiance, but not as, Defiance works a whole lot like Rift. I'm picturing something just a big, massive open world like that, and you're just kind of running around and you're just kind of sliding in and out of these things. I'm not really seeing like an instance, maybe like you jump in and all of a sudden it's just 4 guys, Borderlands. I'm seeing, just on the description, just you're roaming around the world. There's this big, massive thing, and however many people want to jump in on it, just fire a shot off, and boom, you're in on the event. So I'm curious to see what they're really going to do with it, because they, like you said, they haven't given us a whole lot, but I'm still very interested in what they have shown us so far.
I am as well.
Gorgeous.
I know. I think this one could be a game changer. I don't know. It's a little too early to tell, but I can't wait to see some more on it. All right, last up this week. This is interesting. Have you tried to check this? So Crytek, the company behind the engine, the Crisis and the Crisis series, and the original Far Cry, have announced Arena of Fate. And I don't think they've actually come out and said MOBA. I don't think I've seen that in there exactly, so. But it's kind of what this game looks like, right?
That it's gonna fall under the MOBA genre. It's like all the MMOs that try to come out and say, "Oh, we're not really an MMO, but we do everything exactly like an MMO." Now, looking at it, they haven't given. Here again, we're talking about something we don't have a ton of information on, but they haven't shown us exactly what it's going to be. But from what they have talked about, it definitely screams MOBA. I think to most everybody that looks at it.
The interesting thing here, I think, like the twist with Arena of Fate is that all the characters are from folklore or history. So it's like Robin Hood, Joan of Arc, Little Red Riding Hood with a giant sword for some reason. But okay, cool. But yeah, look at 5v5, just like most MOBAs. Art style, very colorful, very, kind of fun. I don't know. Are you surprised at all that Crytek, a studio like Crytek, to go into this genre, kind of known for their cutting edge graphics of, Crisis and things like that, always pushing the boundary of fidelity? Like, were you surprised to see them going into like a 5v5 kind of MOBA territory?
This company, yes, it was a little surprising to see them move into that, but at the same time, there are so many other companies getting into the MOBA genre. People look at it and they're seeing what World of Warcraft did back years ago, and they're doing what everybody did with World of Warcraft back years ago. Like, hey, I want a piece of that. So the company is surprising, yes. The fact that there are big companies, more and more big companies jumping in on the MOBA genre, no, not that surprising.
I gotta say, I guess it's like anything else. Like you said, like the World of Warcraft effect, I guess you can kind of call it. You see like the success of something, then you see this barrage of, games coming out of the gate, same way like trying to be the next World of Warcraft, which we've never seen happen. And now with League, you've got the same thing. You got League, you got Dota 2, and now you got Heroes of the Storm, you got some smaller ones coming. So now everybody's just gonna jump on the bandwagon. I wonder if it's gotta be so insanely hard right now to try and break into the MOBA market just in general, with how massive League and Dota and how much just space that takes up. I mean, obviously now Blizzard getting in the game really soon.
Yeah. If you're trying to recreate and clone League of Legends or Dota, you're going to have a really hard time getting any attention, and I don't care who you are, what company you are, how big of a budget you are, what fantasy characters you've got. If you're trying to recreate that exact thing, you're going to have a problem. However, there is room for a nice AAA game that comes at it at a slightly different approach. And when I look at this, and they keep saying arena, I mean, arena is plastered all over their website and everything that they've put out about this. What I'm guessing right now is something more along the lines of Bloodline Champions, where it's not the lanes and you're fighting to get into the other base. It's more of a small actual battle arena where people are kind of taking on each other, and there's probably going to be, you know, objectives and little things to interact with in that arena. But that's what I'm seeing right now. That's my best guess as to what this is going to be right now. And there's room for something like that to come in and kind of find its own little spot, you know, kind of in the genre right now.
Could be interesting. Could be interesting. What's going on with Heroes right now?
Big, huge patch. That's about it. Very little coming out of Blizzard right now. I mean, it's kind of quiet. You look at Twitch and you would expect thousands and thousands of viewers watching Heroes of the Storm, and it's not so much right now. I know Blizzard, still waiting on my my alpha invite there, buddies. I'll give you some PR.
Little shout out there. Yeah, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how, you know, how they kind of pull out of the gate with that and now this. But definitely something to keep your eye on. I mean, Crytek, definitely a good developer. Just interesting to see how that kind of works out. I think that's it. I think we're done for this week.
That's a show. Ladies and gentlemen.
It's not a shame. It's a great week. Oh, go over to Audible. Audible.com/gamebreaker. Get a free book. Get a free 30-day trial. Check it. Audible.com/gamebreaker. Mr. Troy Blackburn. Follow him on Twitters at Noobfridge, NOOBFRIDGE. And of course, all his writing can be found on thegamebreaker.tv. It's good to have you back with some good internet, sir.
I'm very happy to be back and very happy to have working internet.
Hey, follow me, Gary Gannon. Follow Gamebreaker TV, and we'll see you next week again on Saturday. If you want to hook up for the live show, we'll be on Saturdays for the next couple of weeks, and then we'll be back to our normal schedule, back to Fridays. So come on over, hang out on a Saturday. Have a great week. Have a great weekend. The rest of your weekend, long weekend. You're still Memorial Day and all that good stuff. Have a burger. We'll see you next week.